Globally, GenAI is revolutionizing the way we work, enabling new and innovative business models. To harness its potential, businesses need to understand what GenAI can do and what it cannot. We need to have the right GenAI implementation and business strategy, build new skills, and use it responsibly. Hi all, my name is Vishy Narayanan. I am the Asia Pacific Chief Digital and AI Officer, and it's my privilege here to be joined by some of our guests to talk about this very important topic. So joining us today are Joe Atkinson, who is our Global Chief AI Officer. We've got Pak Eddy, who is the Indonesia Territory Senior Partner and CEO, and Pak Subi, who is the Broader Assurance Leader and the Chief Digital and AI Officer for Indonesia. So thank you all for being here today, and let's dive straight into our discussion. So let me start with you, Joe. As PwC's first Global Chief AI Officer, considering the current development stage of GenAI and its significant disruptive potential at a global scale, how do you envision GenAI as a game changer that could impact the economy, the way we conduct business, and the nature of work in general?
It's hard to answer that question without sounding like we're overhyping this moment of GenAI, but I personally think that GenAI will be one of the most transformative technologies we'll see in our lifetime, and we're already seeing evidence of that. It will change everything about the way that we work. It will change how we approach work, and it will change the way that organizations create value, because it will enable people to do things that were simply impossible before the advent of this technology. We talk a lot about the disruptive power of GenAI, and it will disrupt. It will change tasks. It will change jobs, just like every technology in history has done. But this technology has, I believe, the power to elevate human impact, elevate our thinking, elevate our contribution and our ability to rethink things that we've done the same way for a long time. So as you can tell, Vishy, I'm an optimist in the world of generative AI, and I think it is unbelievable opportunity for organizations who can adopt it in that responsible and thoughtful way you described.
I agree with your points, Joe. I think especially one of our key tenets in our strategy is human-led and tech-powered. And this gives us the best opportunity to live that strategy, both for our clients and also our people internally. So next question to Pak Eddy. So please, can you share your thoughts with us in terms of GenAI and sort of your perspectives on generative AI?
Okay, thanks, Vishy. I think like what Joe just mentioned, right? I believe that GenAI can really, drive the economic growth, right? Simply by, of course, through this automating tasks, right? And then, streamlining the process and also, improve the productivities, right? And it's also with that kind of capability that it will, foster the innovations, and then consequently it will reduce costs, will increase the productivities, right? But to be able to materialize those benefits, then of course business has to upskill their people, right? And they also need to think about, like what you mentioned before, how to use that responsibly, right? How to make sure that it is really for the benefit of human rather than just creating more problem for us. So that's probably I see the benefit of that, Vishy.
Thank you, Pak Eddy. I guess the key thing is it's getting the businesses to really adopt this with a human approach,
yes,
right? Not just from a technology approach.
Yes.
And I know from an Indonesia standpoint, there's been some really good development. So I'm going to invite Pak Subi to give us some perspectives from a PwC Indonesia, both internally and a client perspective. How are you driving this? Because I know there's been some really exciting developments here.
Thanks, Vishy. It's a very good question. I think adding to what Eddy mentions, we in PwC Indonesia, we started actually by adopting the GenAI ourselves. So we have been deploying the Chat PwC. It is a secure chat which is able to help our people to do their work better, and also the Microsoft Copilot. Yeah. So I think I'm proud to say as well, up to date, 98% of our partners and staff have been sort of being the active user of Chat PwC. And of course, we are actually not only by deploying the tools, but more importantly, there is a change management aspect. So we actually, through the leadership, are sort of empowering our people to use that more often in the way they do their work, their activities. Yeah. And going to your second part of your question about how we do it from the market perspective, we are in the early stage, but we have been seeing our clients have been telling us they really believe the benefit of using AI, Gen AI, machine learning in helping their business to perform, whether it is the front end, middle end, as well as the back end. So we have been speaking a lot with our clients, including we have begins to actually assisting our client as well in various areas. For example, in the areas of financial reporting area, how to actually use the AIs to help them identify anomalies, fraud detections, KYC respective area. And we believe there is much more to help to be able to assist the clients in using these AI tools.
That's excellent, Pak Subi, right? To me, the key point here is we have to be in the market, but also doing it internally at the same time.
That's right.
And no other technology or no other change that I've seen, I'm sure you've all seen in your careers, have come close to this level of disruption, both externally and internally, but it's an exciting phase for us. So Joe, I'm going to come to you. From your vantage point as a global AI leader, we say this is just about the business and not about technology, but still you need to have the technology available across the globe. So sitting where you are, how do you see that sort of the difference in the technology availability, readiness, adoption across the world? And where are some examples of where this is going well? And where are some of those things where you see there's some opportunities for improvement?
Yeah, I think if you look across the network of firms, we have a view as a great privilege of PwC that we're operating in more than 150 countries around the world. And there's no question that we're just not in the same place in terms of the technology availability and even understanding of that technology in different territories. It's also a good opportunity to talk about the regulatory differences around the world. We see the EU AI Act. We saw the executive order in the United States. We're seeing, even in the United States, we're seeing specific states adopt regulation. So we have this patchwork of regulation even within countries, let alone across the 150 plus territories that we serve. So I think that creates significant pressure for executives that are trying to make decisions about how they want to operate in this environment. First, you have to understand where the technology roadmap is taking you. If you haven't already thought about your cloud infrastructure and scaling your data, then starting that process as AI capabilities become available at scale is not really the great place to start. You really need to be adopting that today. You have to be thinking about what data is actually valuable to your customers and your stakeholders, and how do you want to take advantage of that. And then I want to come back to something that Pak Subi said, which I think is so important, which is this idea of empowerment and how do you skill people. Because no matter how powerful the tech is, no matter how widely deployed it is, no matter how regulated heavily or lightly it is in a territory, if your people don't understand how to use it and use it in that thoughtful, responsible, and strategic way, then all of our investments will be for naught.
Yep, that's a phenomenal point there in terms of the technology availability is sort of the starting point, but the change and sort of adoption comes from people using it, not just having the technology available. Pak Hedi, I want to turn to you just in terms of your perspective on this matter, right? Because obviously there is a global perspective on availability of tech, but then there's an Indonesia view from a market standpoint. So can you please share some thoughts from the Indonesia perspective, please?
Yeah, I think certainly, right? I think we at the leadership here, right, we believe that, okay, the capability of this technology for sure, right? Now, like what Joe mentioned and Subi mentioned, right, how to get our people to use it first, right? Because there's no point for us if we talk to our client, if we don't understand how to use it, how are we going to be able to talk to our client? And I think that's where we start, okay, we believe that first is make it available for our people first, right? It's not cheap for sure, right? But we're gonna invest in that, right? And then we believe that the benefit is definitely outweigh the investment that we put into this. And then of course, like what Subi mentioned, and then once people start using it, and then you start see that, okay, what sort of capabilities or ability of this technology will be helping our people to do their job, right? more, of course, more faster, efficient, right? And then really be able to bring more benefit to our people, because all of this is, I mean, we see that our people especially is complaining about, long hours. Well, this kind of technology will help them work more efficient, I hope, right? Efficient.
Yeah, that's a great point. Pak Subi, anything to add to that from an Indonesia perspective?
Yeah, I think just to add a little bit, I think we also actually work a lot with alliances, technology alliances, so like Microsoft, AWS, etc. So I think it's important to realize that the clients actually will have a complex problems to solve, and there's actually it's critical for us to work with those technologies providers, be able to solve their complex problem. So that is the only additions, I think, to what Pak Eddie has mentioned.
Yep. Thanks, Subi. So I guess last question for you, Joe. Lucky last. Given the various use cases we've explored in terms of how GenAI can revolutionize business and work processes, it's clear that its potential is immense, right? Certain industries like healthcare, finance, manufacturing, entertainment are already adopting and integrating GenAI. Where are some of the other areas we're seeing in terms of where this can have real impact, both from a market, but also for us as a network of firms at PwC?
I hate to say it's limitless, but it feels very limitless at this moment, in this early stage of the technology, which is exciting because I think we're still discovering where these capabilities will be able to be applied. The early use cases are all about the efficiency plays. I can get better summarization of documents. I can do deep queries. I can augment content. I can write and craft the first drafts. And that's a really important piece of the adoption curve because it's where people will learn the power and capability. But as you know, we're now starting to see video generation and avatars. We're starting to see creative content. We're starting to see the development of agentic frameworks, which is something that we're deploying in our next generation audit platform. The agentic frameworks start to take this idea of AI as not just a tool, but as a colleague, which sounds almost a little spooky, but think of AI now as another member of the team, a technology member of the team, a digital leverage point that will help make life a little bit easier, I hope, for all of us, that we can leverage it in a different way. But at the same time, now you can start to get more specialized capabilities built into the models so that these challenges that we see with the large language models, as powerful and as impactful as they are, we now start to use those capabilities and target them to very, very specific areas of expertise. I think that's going to be the next phase of where we'll all be in the use cases and capability. And then in the future, as you look further out, I think we're in the just the imagination stage of how we can reinvent the way that we do so many things, the way that we serve customers, the way that we serve our employees and support our employees and provide resources and care to them when they need it. All of those things start to open up in very different ways. So again, I've confessed to being an optimist. I'm still an optimist at the conclusion of this discussion, and I think there's a lot of opportunity ahead.
Thank you, Joe. That's really helpful and insightful. I guess the key point here is this is evolving at a rapid pace, something that we've never seen before. We've got to be in it to actually understand how to use it. There's a responsible AI side of this as well, because along with a lot of the videos and other things we've talked about, there's also the authenticity of the video, the verification. There's a lot of that that's still yet to play out. And I guess the key thing is balancing out the opportunities and the risks as we look at this down the many months and years ahead of us. So again, I want to say thank you to my esteemed panelists here. Joe, I'll give you the honorary title here, Pak Subi and Pak Eddie. I think thank you all for sharing your insightful sort of contributions. But I think as we can see, there is no single answer here. It's a collective answer. And no one organization can address this themselves. They need partnerships, alliances, and people and a whole bunch of things to work in their favor for this to work. So thank you for joining the session. If you'd like to learn more about what we've discussed today, GenAI and other topics, please visit our website, pwc.com/Indonesia. Have a great day and see you at the next video. Thanks a lot.